that's precisely the reason why you have to speak, okay? Because, look, meaning of arrogance, an attitude of superiority, manifested in an overbearing manner or in presumptions, claims, or assumptions.
Yeah, you work with him. He's not overbearing.
Lead members of parliament in the lounge and eats lunch. If he felt superior, I'm not sure he would do that. Napo is a man who has engagements on a constant basis, walks into my office. He calls me bro. If he was superior, he wouldn't do that. He comes to my office to have meetings. When I go to tell him that, look, people have come to engage with him, let them wait in the office, I'm going to come over. He works there. You know, he sits with the Ministry of Energy staff where I work with him to have a regular stories. And I'm not so sure whether if you ask anybody who has worked with him at Ministry of Energy for the past 3.5 years, the attribution that he is arrogant would be what they would attribute to him. Far from that. I mean, he is, look, 2 days ago when he was announced, Joy FM interviewed me on I believe, Top Story. I was completely awash with emotion because I'd always hoped and prayed for him to be Dr. Bawumia's running mate. Because my first encounters with him, of course, I knew him as colleague members of parliament during the first term. Anytime that I needed to meet with him, I go to his office at 6 a.m. That's how early his day starts at the Ministry of Energy, Education at the time. And subsequently, when he came to the Ministry of Energy, we've had conversations, you know, on several issues. When His Excellency the President appointed me to be his deputy, he called me that, bro, President has told me that he's bringing you over to work with me. Come home and let's have a conversation. I went to his house. We had discussions deep into the night. Okay, he told me, frankly, that no, yes, he's human. Okay, all he wants is his work done. And so when he gets into the mode where he's exacting some deliverables from you and you don't deliver, he will scold you. And indeed, and in fact, during the course of the period that I've worked with him, he scolded me on a few occasions because his expectation had not been met. He is not the one who is going to sit for a deputy minister to delay him meeting a certain trend line or anything like that. So if that's what people describe him as arrogant, then I suggest that maybe Kofi Bentel's positive trait is what we all should aspire.
Would you say then that he is like your bit of a Trump, of a character?
I don't think so.
Where I have hosted Napo on my show here, and I can tell you that he's difficult. I mean, when I say difficult, I don't mean arrogance. He says, yes, you can't try it.
You can't.
He will insist on a point, and even if you want to stop him, and for as long as he hasn't made a point, he will not stop. So my thing is that what you see him to be, for which people then say he's arrogant, instead of saying he's assertive, he's blunt, he's not diplomatic about what he has to say, so that he says, well, you say the people in Keta, what has happened to them? You are going to budget for them to take care of their circumstances because of a certain situation. If you did that, I will not allow it. He says in Parliament, somebody angers him, then you see him throwing his hands, in the air and using almost practically violent language and showing by body as well. A journalist approaches him. It's dumsor. What do you have to say? Some years ago, you joined Kofi Bentel out there and you were demonstrating that, dumsor must stop. Here you are today, the lights are erratic and so on. His reply gives many people in the country, chills. Why does a minister speak like that? Just give the journalist an answer. Why do you say anybody who says there's dumsor, let them bring their own timetable?
You see, Samson, it's unfortunate how this particular incident has been twisted to achieve a certain end. Because if you listen to the longer version of the tape, you hear him clearly indicate to the journalist that there's no dumsor. And so there's no need for us to provide a timetable. That indeed, if there was the need for a timetable, he is not afraid to put out a timetable. After all, when we came into government, when he was energy minister in 2021, we put out a dumsor timetable. When Gridco was doing its stringing of wires in the Eastern Corridor, we did. And he termed it dumsor, if you recall. And so it's not as if to say he's scared of putting out a timetable for dumsor when there's one. We went to the Parliamentary Select Committee, and he showed them the daily PURC monitoring of the power grid. It was such that today you had 200 megawatts shortage, tomorrow you had 0, the next day you had 100, the following day you had 150, the next day you had 0. So that situation in itself was not one that could lend itself for you providing a timetable. All that explanation had been given. So if you insist that people say that give me timetable, when he's not in a position to give you timetable, then the response that he gave is what he gave. But we take that out and only make that statement that if you want to do so, then bring your own timetable. Suggest that there was no context at all. That's, I think, very, very, very unfair on the interviewer. If that's, well, maybe for political expediency, people have cut their clip as they do on most occasions to put that out there to suggest that he had given a statement or a response.
All right. Anyway, from the interview that I have been privy to in respect of that issue, I don't think anybody has twisted anything or done anything wrong. But what do you say about and we have to be careful not to make it about these comments. But what do you say about the Keta, infamous Keta comment, for which people are saying he cannot even campaign in Keta if...
why not?
Yeah?
Why not? Samson, every constituency has needs. Every constituency MP advocates for their needs. When the budget is prepared and presented to Parliament, it would have considered all the needs that have come and the availability of the resources to meet those needs. So if a member of Parliament from an area that has been affected by tidal waves, and indeed that very occasion, the tidal waves spread across the entirety of the coastal areas of Ghana, including Shama and other places in the Western region. So if a member of Parliament from Keta says that condition, if you don't include a provision in Keta in the budget, then we are not going to support the budget. Is it not entitled to say that in that case, he would also make a case for Meshia, constituency or any other constituencies need to be captured? Is that how to govern a country?
But that's not what he said.
But that's exactly what he said.
The problem about what he said was what he meant. He said he would do a demonstration against the minister if he provided for Keta.
Because of the condition that have been attached to that request. Then every other constituency's needs ought to be captured.
Okay. So will you say as one professor, as one university professor has said, that you must make sure he doesn't speak unscripted. So the problem is his speaking, is it?
Anapo speaks unscripted on many occasions. Many occasions. In fact, he hardly reads his speech. Okay, or all of it. And so really, I really don't think that this talk about he being arrogant is borne out by the person that I have come to know over the years. Many people who know me, indeed, Samson, you see, you are showing clips of a man who is serving the golden stool. You played the audio from the old man from Apejavie and his description of Napo. These are people who know him better than you and I. And I am clear in my mind that the arrogance tag obviously is going to be played up by political opponents who would wish that they, like they did to Nana Addo in the past, will get some traction out of it for their political benefit. But we are here, and then we'll defend that.
Thank you. Dr. Kennedy, I'm talking